I started to listen to your music.
Unfair and lovely, I'm beautiful brown, my hair unruly.
I loved how you included like hair oiling in the video.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you what inspired that, because it's so authentic to who we are as Indians and South Asians. And I think it's like a lost art.
I feel like South Asians are like, we're the OG hair care. It is an ancient wisdom that's passed down from thousands of years. And I feel like we have to remember the origin.
So before this first album, you were doing mashups, right?
Yes.
Because like people love your mashup.
What are you waiting for? I started doing mashups in kind of like a desperation. Already had crazy blue hair by that time. Like we literally did it in 3 hours. Our second song was Hosanna with Love Me Like You Do. So I just picked like whatever pop songs were around at that time to be like, because I wanted to do music, but I did not know what I wanted my original music to sound like.
Yeah. You were learning Carnatic classical?
Music. Yeah, classical.
Yeah.
Carnatic music. It's inherently beautiful and so positive and so devotional and spiritual. So there is like a little bit of like a classist, elitist thing around classical music. I spent like weeks in dance rehearsals, dancing in heels for the first time. And then almost everybody hated it when I first put it out. And I was like, oh, I can't get out of bed. I was so depressed reading the comments. But then fast forward like 4 years after that, people started like requesting them at concerts, doing dances to it.
So then when you started to get into your roots and your music in college?
In college, yes.
Okay. And what started to inspire you to make it? Because you were pre-med.
I was pre-med.
Yeah.
I was very introverted and shy. And there was also like a little bit of like violence at home. And so from that, I was just like, okay, I need to create some kind of safe space without also having violence in school. So I was getting teased and I was like, oh, this is all such a bad combination. We were homeless for a bit, but honestly, that was the turning point in my life.
And you chose to get some therapy, which I don't think a lot of people choose to do in those situations.
Both my sister and I have trauma around music. My mom was a big proponent of it, and post her divorce, she had my sister and I in therapy together, actually.
Would you be open to singing like a couple lines of your favorite budget?
Oh my God. Wow.
So are you and Shankar still together?
Yeah, we've been together for so long. We started dating before we started working together.
Do you have a spiritual ritual for yourself? Not just to create music, but just day to day for yourself?
I've never spoken about this. So exclusive.
This week on Desi Wisdom, we have singer-songwriter and originally known as the Mashup Queen, Vidya Vox. She has over 7.6 million YouTube subscribers, 1.3 billion views, and a voice trained in Carnatic classical music since the age of 5. Born in Chennai, raised in Virginia, Vidya Vox fuses Indian classical, Bollywood, South Asian hip-hop, Western pop in a way that has taken the world by storm. Welcome, Vidya. I am so excited to have you. I think I like bothered your mom many times to try to figure out how we could make this happen.
No, I'm so happy it worked out. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Well, I wanted to tell you, like, I started to listen to your music and I was just like, this is good, you know? And I'm not, I don't speak Tamil. I'm not from the south of India, but I was just like wanting to listen to it over and over again because it felt to me so soulful, actually. I'm sure you get everybody has a different version of what they think it feels or like, but that's what it felt like to me. And I was just like, oh, I really want to have her on.
Yay! No, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That means a lot. I feel like it's even though making music isn't for validation, sometimes when I hear it from other people, it is like self-affirming.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you saying that. So thank you.
Yeah, because I could feel like I'm very oriented around a depth of something, like the wisdom of something. And I just felt that through your music, even though I didn't even understand it. I actually took the song and put it into AI. And I was like, can you translate?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is so good.
I should probably include some translations. I try, but sometimes, so I can't write in like Tamil or Malayalam. I usually have like lyricists that I work with.
Yeah.
But then, so I don't necessarily fully understand the one-to-one translation. Like I do, but I also don't. So then I have to get the exact accurate translation. I always forget to ask them. So I'm always like, I understand it. So some people who, should understand it. So I should actually start including translations.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good. But, I still loved it. You can just feel it. So
thank you.
Well, one of my questions is I was watching the video of Champagne Roses, and I said this to you before we got on today, but I was just like, I loved how you included like hair oiling in the video.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you what inspired that, because it's so authentic to who we are as Indians and South Asians. And I think it's like a lost art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I wanted to know what inspired that.
I feel like South Asians are like, we're the OG hair care, you know, like this, it is an ancient wisdom that's passed down from thousands of years. And I feel like growing up in the US, it's so out of context. And my mom like really believed that having oil in your hair all day and then coming home at night and like washing it was like a big thing. And so she would just like force us to do it in school. So a lot of the times I would go to school in like double braids and like my hair would be so oily. And I mean, it's not, kids would be like, what is this? Like kids are like, why is your hair oily? Like they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And so I always felt like a shame around it because it was so different and so like unique. I feel like now everyone's like cool into hair oiling and every brand has their own hair oil, which I feel like it's a good thing, but I also feel so irritated by, because
you can just use coconut oil.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it doesn't have to be this like fancy oil, but actually my mom would do different types of oil, like, you know, put curry leaves in it. There's like methi oil. She'd do like so many different kinds of oil, for different things. And so, and also I like struggled with dry scalp growing up. And so like she was like trying to do all the things for us. And so I felt like it always was like under connotation of like dirty, you know, like it's like a dirty thing. It's oily. You like look greasy, but I actually think that's royalty. So in Champagne Roses, it's a song all about royalty. We were sitting in this like Jaipur palace and wearing these like beautiful clothes. And so I was like, why not include hair oiling? Because it actually is a royal thing. That self-care is actually a luxury. And even though it's an everyday thing in our lives, I feel like it is a luxury thing. So kind of reframing it like that and reclaiming it for myself was actually really nice. And it was like, I couldn't have my grandma there, but like it was this Moshi from a neighboring village who was there, and she's so sweet, and I was trying to get her to do it, and she was going to town, like actually as she was massaging it. So I couldn't include, I edited the video, and so I couldn't include all the clips that of her just being like in the background you can hear everyone being like, be gentle, she's just like going at it, and I'm just like, and I'm trying to like sing the lyrics, and it was so funny. So she was great, but and there's like the head massage that goes with it, you know, the sambrani that goes with it. There's just like so many beautiful things around hair and the ritual of hair.
What is the sambrani actually? What is
sambrani? Is like, it's like the dupe.
Oh yes.
You put it, you know, like as soon as you are done with your hair oil, so you soak in oil, you shower, and then my mom would have us like lay down like that, and then just like in our hair put the dupe for like fragrance, and it's like
that
so
is
luxurious. I know. I literally like thinking back to it, I was like, oh, my mom used to do this like in our apartment in Bandra, or, you know, when we lived in India. Like it was not fancy at all, but it was so part of our everyday life. And also when we were in Virginia, she would just like do it for us, you know? So so I felt like it was very apt to include it in a song that talks about luxury, because I think it's not just about the palaces and the clothes and the jewels. It is about like our everyday things that are part of our lives.
Yeah. And, you know, I think reclaiming it is really good. You know, that's what I really loved about it, because like you said, like when you just said even the dupe part, I remember like watching the movie Cleopatra. It's like a very old movie, but they would do that, right? To like the queen's hair. And so, exactly. It's such a luxurious act.
It
and
is.
I think it's important for us to start to see it that way.
But it's also like an everyday thing. It's an everyday ritual. It's like, it's luxury, but it's also an everyday ritual. It does not have to be some expensive thing. It's like, as you said, you could just do some coconut oil, and the dupe is like, it's not expensive. You know, it's like something that we just do as South Asian women. And I feel like that tradition has been just kind of diluted over social media and stuff. And I feel like we have to remember the origins. I'm all about people, you know, appreciating the culture and like taking things that help them and stuff. But I think origins need to be like remembered and cited.
Yeah, I agree. Like, how do you still oil your hair?
I do.
How often do you oil your hair?
Once a week.
Yes.
I do.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the best hair too.
We
like
do.
In India, Indians have like the best hair.
It's incredible hair.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's the best. I love that. Well, yeah, so I'm going to take us back to when right before you started making music.
Mm-hmm.
So something you shared with me is that, when you were growing up here in the States, you had a very like double life situation happening where you would go to school and it was almost like you were an Indian.
Yeah.
And then you'd come home and it was a completely different scenario.
Yeah.
Can you share with us what that was like for you when you were younger? Because I think it's very relatable for so many people that move here, immigrated here, to have some sense of shame, especially back then. Yeah. Around being Indian and being in mostly white or white and black, some Asian situations, and like how you interpreted that. Yeah.
It was a very confusing time, I feel like, growing up, because there was so much going on at home, but also I feel like just trying to be white like I was trying to be white so badly and it didn't help at all because I was very brown and looking and I could never pass as a white person. But I feel like I really just took on those behaviors. I was eating, like my mom would be packing me Indian lunch and occasionally I would eat it, but I would like either ate alone or never ate my lunch because I was just so ashamed of the food. I was trying to always eat like whatever the cafeteria gave, like things like that. Like I would really try to just kind of fit in. And I think that's also a part of growing up in general. Like we're trying to fit in with our peer groups and things. And so when you add like the cultural element to it, I think it makes it a little bit more complicated. So that was really tough, especially because at home, it was so different. Like, please, it was like, we would be oiling our hair, like doing, singing bhajans. Like I learned Carnatic music growing up, singing Carnatic music. I learned Bharatanatyam. It was like, so we've celebrated like all of the festivals and those are the things I still enjoy today. And I fully like kind of come into my own with that. But at that time I was very ashamed of it and I never spoke about it. Like even to my friends at school, I had like a couple of Indian friends in high school and we would not even discuss it. Like no, that was not a thing.
Really?
No, not at all. We did not even bring that up. Like
even your other Indian friends.
I had two close Indian friends and they would just, and we all kind of just stuck together because it was like a predominantly white school. Yeah. Especially at that time. I feel like now the area that I used to live in is like completely diverse. Yeah. And it's very different. But at that time, it was like a lot of East Asian people and a couple of South Asians and we all stuck together. Yeah. And my sister also went to the same school. So like once she, came into the school, I was like, we all have to be like in the same friend group. It was very confusing and it was definitely very difficult at that time. And I just like could never figure out like who I was. And I was just like kind of okay with living this like double life. I was like, I figured it out. I kind of had it down to like a science, just like never bring home stuff to school and vice versa.
Well, that's like a lot to manage in your mind even, right?
Yeah.
Like how to assimilate that much.
Oh, totally. Like I feel like by senior year of high school, I was like, oh, F it. Like I'll do it. Like it's fine. And then I did like a international dance, with my sister and my other friend. I feel like until then I was just like, no, I can't sing. I just like didn't tell anybody anything. And my sister and I, we kind of had like an unspoken thing, we would just like didn't tell anybody things. And so, but then by the time we got older, like senior year of high school and then into college for sure, I was just like went the opposite way. I was like, no, this is who I am. Like I'm joining all of these Indian dance teams. I have all Indian friends, like South Asian friends, part of a million student organizations. And I kind of like swung the other way completely. And I feel like now I've found a balance.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what do you think was happening inside of you that had you like keep it so separate, right? Because like when I was growing up, I mean, I'm older than you, but like when I was growing up, I didn't keep it so separate, but you're right. Like I still had some like, oh, I can't take certain foods because they smell.
Yeah.
Even though now I'm like, oh my God, like half my friends would eat like tuna salad.
No, I know.
And I'm like, that smells so bad.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
or like weird sandwiches. And I'm like, wait, I could have just had my dal and rice or my idli sambar. And
exactly.
Like, it's fine.
Exactly. So it's crazy, but like that is how I would think at times too. But I didn't have it so separate. So what had you feel like you had to keep it so separate?
Yeah, I was also very introverted. So I feel like there was just like so much shame. Like the teasing really got me. And so I was just like, whatever I could do to blend in and not stick out is like the way I kind of was like, I'm just going to survive and like put my head down and just like focus on my studies. And there was also like a little bit of like violence at home. And so from that, I was just like, okay, I need to create some kind of safe space without also having violence in school. Yeah. So I was like, I just have to figure out a way kind of to survive. And I feel like if I didn't have violence at home, it probably wouldn't have been so drastic of like a separation. But because I was dealing with that as well as a kid, it was just like really too much for me. And I just was like, okay, I need to have a semi-safe space in school, and like whatever I need to do to get that is what I need to do. So that's why I kept like such an intense separation. My sister and I both, honestly. Yeah. Me a little bit more than her because she's a little bit more social, but I was very introverted and shy. And so then, and also I was getting teased, and I was like, oh, this is all such a bad combination. Yeah. And then also home was bad. And so I was like, okay, at school, I just have to like literally blend in to do anything to like help it. So then that's why I think senior year of high school is finally when my parents got divorced, and finally that's when I was able to be like, okay, I guess I could participate in this like talent show with my friends. And so then I started blending it a little bit more, and that's when I kind of felt like it wasn't so black and white.
Starkly different. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Like I've been a love and relationship coach for like 15 years and sort of like let that go. And I talk about a lot of relationships, familial relationships, and even like trauma that we've had growing up and stuff. But it makes a lot of sense that, you were looking for like a safe space in somewhere in your life, right? And
exactly.
School is such a big part of your life at that time. And so it makes sense that you also maybe just didn't want to bring any of the home stuff into school.
Because I feel like even with music, like my dad was very involved in Carnatic music and was very involved in the way we practice. Like I learned with my sister. So my sister and I learned together. Okay. And so he was very involved in that as well. So I feel like even bringing any of that felt like bringing a bit of him into it. And I felt it was very unsafe. He was very violent. Yeah. So we had to just like, create like some kind of separation, honestly, from that. And so it never felt, and like our Carnatic music community was never a safe space. It was never a safe community. They didn't support my mom's divorce. They just thought like, she should stick it out. And so we ended up like stopped learning music from that community. And from our guru at that point. And so, so because of all of that, I feel like it was so much was going on. And in that year of the divorce, it was just like so tumultuous that we just were like, oh, that's when it was the worst, I feel like. I was just like, oh, I can't speak to anybody. But after that, honestly, after that point, like I had 1 year left in school, which was my senior year. And I was like, okay, I can like come into my own a little bit more. But it was until then, it was like very tough.
Yeah. I mean, and when I say trauma, just to clarify a little bit, like there's such a wide range of, like you could literally be like little, start crying and be ignored, and that can feel traumatic. Totally, you know what I mean? So totally. I like to say that because sometimes people think I'm talking about something major that needs to happen, but nothing major needs to happen. But I get what you're saying. It's almost like what I'm hearing from you is a little bit like when your mom sort of chose to like for herself to get out of the situation. It sort of gave you guys freedom and permission to do that for yourself too.
Exactly, because I feel like it was very unconventional decision at that time to like leave your abusive husband. And I think like for her, she saw how my sister and I were getting affected by it, and she was like, like it's time, because I feel like for a long time she just like took it, and she was like, okay, we're just gonna do whatever it takes. But unfortunately with the person that's abusive, like physically and emotionally, there's no safe space. There's nothing you can say or do that's going to get you to safety, except for leaving. And I feel like it's so taboo in our community. And I just want to be like, no, it's not. It's like, you have, like, sometimes people are abusive, like men are abusive. And you just have to leave their house.
Yeah, you do.
You know? And so when my mom made that decision, like a lot of our extended family didn't support it. Our communities didn't support it. And so, but it was just like the three of us, like my mom, my sister, and I. And we were homeless for a bit. But honestly, I remember being so happy. I remember being like not even noticing that, just like couch surfing. Like my mom had to stay in someone else's house. My sister and I had to stay in someone else's house. Like it was fine. We were just like all living separately a little bit for a second. And it ended up being like totally okay because we were out of that situation and we were able to like kind of claim that. And I think honestly, that was the turning point in my life, because I feel like if my mom hadn't made that decision, I feel like I would not be who I am today. Like I think I would have been, I don't know, a completely shell of a person that I am.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Like, I think sometimes people don't realize culturally, like how it's impacting children on like a very deep level. You know, and I study so much psychology, and like what's missing in psychology is like a lot of spirituality. But sometimes in our culture, what's also sort of missing is some of the psychology. Right? Like how something is impacting somebody emotionally. You know, and putting weight on that and importance on that. But how brave of your mom to take a stand in that way, especially when she wasn't supported.
I know, she's such a rock star. I don't know if I could, because she was my age now when she did this, and I don't know if I had the wherewithal to like have 2 kids who were in high school to then also be doing this like crazy thing and like go out on her own, and you know, because she wasn't allowed to work. There's like so many things that she had to like really figure out, and she just like kind of did it, you know? And so, so I feel like that's why my last album, Sundari, is like completely inspired by her. And Champagne Roses is like a little bit of how there's like royalty in kind of everyday life. And so it was inspired by kind of like each track has like a little different phase of her personality in her life in it. So that's why I decided to like dedicate that album to her.
Oh my God, I love it. What did she say when you told her that
she was just like, wait, what? And I was like, Mom, just listen to this, like listen, you know, and she'd heard some demos, and I hadn't told her like my source of inspiration, because I just like didn't want her to be like, you know, shy about it. And then, she was very moved.
That's beautiful. I'm like wanting to cry right now. Because it's like, because, you know, I think one of the number one reasons women don't leave is because they don't have the financial ability to leave. You know? And that becomes like a blocker 100%. To actually doing something about the situation. And like we actually had like Vandana Shah, she's like a major Bollywood Indian divorce lawyer. And she went through her own divorce and wrote about it. And there was abuse in the divorce. And that was one of the things that we talked about is like the financial situation. But like what I'm hearing from you is like your mom just took a stand. It wasn't even that she was financially capable.
No, she just like, she didn't have any money. Like we were very food insecure, financially insecure for a long, long time. We were very, very poor. But I also think that like, just her spirit in general, like from being free, counted for so much more. And I have to say, like, we did have some very close friends, like nobody in our actual South Asian community, but like actual close friends who were not South Asian, really help us through it. Like get buy us food, like in such huge ways. And I feel like, and obviously my mom's brothers, like her direct family, also helped financially. A little bit as well. But my mom just like, she was working like 2 jobs. One year she worked 3 jobs, you know, my sister and I would be babysitting. Like we all worked. Like I started working when I was 14 basically. But then, when finally she got divorced, I got like a part-time job at a country club. Like I was doing weekends and nights there. So we all had to pitch in. Like my sister had to, you know, she was like working in the snack thing. She was like flipping burgers. Like, so we have truly been through it. But I think through that, I think my mom's like spirit has really like spread to us. Even now, my sister and I talk about like how my mom's about to be 60 and I'm like, how on earth is she still like so lively? And me right now, I'm just like, oh, I could take a nap for like 4 days. And my mom is like ready to go. She's like, has like this huge community of friends and like people who actually support her and they support each other. And I think that's really important too.
Yeah. Well, what's cool is that when you're talking about it, it seems like a very hard time physically, but like emotionally, it was actually so much better.
So much better.
And lighter and relief. And like you were saying, like you just felt so much better.
It's the safety. It's like ultimately you realize you're safe. You can sleep at night. You'll be fine. You can make mistakes and no one's going to like physically harm you. And I think that is really like that switch is like, it like calms your central nervous system down. And I think since birth, we haven't had that, my sister and I. And so finally we were able to have that. We were like, okay, we can't afford food. We'll find it. You know what I mean? And like we did have some really close friends who helped us with that. So just like things like that, it just did help a lot. And I'm always forever grateful to them, like, helping us through that. But my mom was, she was just like, oh, we're going to just like do this. We're going to make it through. She was never once, I've never once seen her like be down and cry about something. She'd be like, I'd be like, oh, we want Halloween costumes because we'd never, dressed up for Halloween before, things like that. And she'd be like, okay, I'll find a way. Like, we'll make it, we'll find a way to make it work for you guys. And like, I don't know, credit cards do exist, which I don't recommend.
Well, they can help.
They can help. Exactly. These situations, it was very helpful. So it's just like little things like that. My mom really went the like long mile to help us out. So and she did it.
Does it feel like, it instilled in you? I'm curious. Because like there's probably a part that is like very, very particular, right? Like I'm sure you have a particular, we all have particular parts. So it's not just you. But there's like a part that's probably very particular, but then like your mom really showed up in a way where she was just like, we can make anything happen. You know what I mean? Do you feel like you have that now? Like I can make anything happen?
I do. And I think that's why a big part of it is why I'm in music, because I remember telling her, and she was in the beginning, she was like, what are you doing? But she was also like, I'll give you 2 years. And if you can make that happen for yourself, you can continue. And like, so she was very practical about it, but she also has this like, you can do it. She wasn't like, oh, you can't do it. It's hard, like whatever. She was just like, it might be tough, but I'm going to give you 2 years to make this work. And if you can do it, all power to you. And so she has this like anything is possible. Anything can happen. Like if you put in the work, basically. She's very like, she doesn't shy away from hard work at all. And she like instilled that work ethic in my sister and I. And we can just like, I feel like I still have that. I'm like, I could still do this, or I can make this like weird song and like make it work, So for sure, it definitely comes from her.
Yeah. Because I think like if a parent embodies some version of that, then it gets passed down.
100%.
But like
100%.
I find that in our culture, there's so much fear. It's not just us. It's like human nature.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that there's so much fear in like protecting children specifically.
Totally.
That like, your mom, leaving the marriage, I know it was a little bit later in your life in terms of being in high school. But still like it showed you like something.
Totally.
That like anything is possible and we can do anything.
I think she also taught me how to be uncomfortable with instability. I think that's important because a career in the arts is very unstable. And a lot of my life was very unstable. But I feel like she was like, be comfortable in the instability, but also like find stability in those parts. Like, so I think it's important to be practical. Like obviously the arts is tough. And money-wise, like financially, it is so up and down. And so it is like you really need to have grit and also be financially smart to be able to do it. But I also think that she was very like, no, just be uncomfortable in it. Sometimes things are going to feel bad and weird, but like push through it and see if there's something that's viable. And I think my mom's like one of those people who she's like, oh, I'll just like figure out all the options, like try everything and then fall back on my backup if I need to. But she'll like always exhaust all the options. And she'd like instill that in me. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like I can figure out all the different ways to do this. And see if it works out.
Yeah. I think that's so beautiful because often just to protect our children, we'll want to just curb their enthusiasm, their passion, their dreams. Yeah. Unknowingly sometimes and then knowingly sometimes, you know, because we just want to keep them safe. But, you know, it's such an art form actually to develop this ability to try out all the options and fail and then succeed and then fail and succeed, you know, and then find your way, you know. But I hope you love this episode of Desi Wisdom. Please leave a comment below telling me if you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you would have wanted more of. It really helps me refine this podcast to give you exactly what you want. I will be reading every comment and responding.
I also think that like no path in life is guaranteed stability. Like I feel like, some more than others, but I feel like I still sometimes have like my lawyer friends or doctor friends who have trouble finding jobs or like, so it's just like it's not like guaranteed in the world that we live in now. I think like maybe in the world that our parents grew up in, it was like, you go get a degree, and I feel like education first always, 100%, but then you'll get a good job, and then you'll have a house. Like, so I feel like that has bopped a little bit. That is not the way our world works anymore, unfortunately. It's very sad. But so it's like there's instability in general, you know? And so I think you just kind of have to give it a shot if you can. But yeah, it's definitely harder than most, I would say, the arts. Yeah. So I get it. I get where the concerns come from. Like I fully and deeply understand it.
Yeah. There's always two sides to a coin, right? Yeah. But I love that what you said around you found like some comfort in the instability. Yeah. And I think that's what drives people to protect so hard because they can't be in that discomfort.
Yeah, which is understandable. Yeah. It's not for everybody. And also, like, I just feel like every path is like really difficult. Like you still, to be a doctor, like I was in pre-med and, you know, studying for my MCATs and stuff. It's still like a decade of school, you know, and it's so still hard. It's so difficult. And I think like, there's just instability in everything. So I feel like you just might as well give it a shot. If you have, I feel like, especially if you are willing to work at your craft, I feel like arts are not something like, it's like a side hobby. Like if you're going to do it mainstream, you got to like really work at it.
Yeah, you got to go all in. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, coming to your craft actually. So what was it like for you when you were younger being at home? Like how, I want to like feel a picture or visualize, like you would come home, you would have like music class, you were learning Carnatic classical?
Music. Yeah, classical. Yeah. Carnatic music. Yeah.
So was that like every day? It
was once a week. It was on Saturdays.
Okay.
Here's the thing. We were supposed to practice it every day. But my sister and I hated it. Yeah. I hated it. I could not find the enthusiasm to practice. My mom would try so hard. My dad would try so hard. My dad was just like violent about it, but my mom would really try to coax us and be like, when he was not around, she'd be like, okay, please, just like, please practice. Like, and my sister and I would like goof off. We'd be laughing. Summers, we would go to India and have like a Carnatic intensive with a different guru in the same family, like in the same style.
Yeah.
But
lineage,
same lineage. But it was this different guru. But and we would wake up at 5 a.m. and like practice in the summers, okay? As like a middle schooler, and like I remember being in like eighth grade going into ninth grade, and we spent the summer in Chennai. And I remember just like hating it so much. And so unfortunately, like I didn't move as fast as I wanted to in my learning, I have to say. Like looking back, I would be like, we used to learn one song for like 3 weeks. And like, that's pretty slow for Carnatic music, honestly. Like especially when you're like, have advanced stages, like you need to be like going through the material faster. But we would not practice. And that's very fair on my guru because he would be like, this sounds bad. So you guys still need to practice. You can still do it. So anytime we move to a new song, my sister and I would be like, yes, like we could leave the song behind it. But I think, we just didn't love it because I think it wasn't very fun. But the part that I loved was my mom and my grandma, like my maternal grandmother, like when she visited, they would sing a lot of bhajans. Like we really grew up listening to a lot of bhajans. And that you don't have to tell me twice to sing a bhajan. Like I will bust out a bhajan anytime. Like if to relax, I listen to a bhajan. Like if I need to calm my anxiety down, I listen to a bhajan. Like there's just something about bhajans in general. Like even in Hindustani style music, actually, like I listen to all of that. Just something about it, maybe because I have nostalgia with it, it like really connects me to my, like the matriarchs of my family. And so, yeah, my grandma, because she knew so many bhajans and she would just sing like Sai bhajan, like Amma bhajan. She just knew like all of them. Yeah. And so my mom would join. And so like my sister and I would learn from her. And yeah, in many ways, my grandma was my first guru and she would teach us even before we even started learning Carnatic music. So that was like the one thing that we would sing without like pushing us. Like we would be like, oh, we have to practice a song, but let's sing this bhajan first, So we would always do that. So I feel like that always felt fun, and that's where the joy of music like really, I think, propelled me into doing music as a career, like because I had those kind of bits in my childhood that I enjoyed. But yeah, I was very like any other 11-year-old being like, I don't want to practice.
Do it. Yeah. I know. My mom, she sings Indian classical music.
Oh,
and
nice.
So she, when we were younger, really pushed us to
Did you learn Hindustani music? Or?
I didn't sing.
Oh, you didn't
I did harmonium.
Oh,
and
nice.
then like I played sitar, but like I didn't do any of them for like that long.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I get it.
Because similar reason.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my like path either. Yeah. But I can still play harmonium.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I hated it back then. I so appreciate that she did what she did because I do have a skill in that way. It's not like amazing or cultivated, but
it uses the different parts of your brain. Yeah.
It's something, and it's like sometimes I feel cool when I say like I can play harmonium.
Yeah, it's cool.
What I
mean? Did you instill that in your son? Like,
so he's 8, and we haven't done. He's going to Indian singing.
Yeah,
he's doing Indian classical singing.
Nice.
But he's getting very bored because he's so young.
Yeah,
so like we're asking the teacher, the guru, like if she can do more bhajans, but she's also not used to like that whole thing.
Yeah.
That's tough. We're trying to work it out. Yeah. But I'd like him to have some form of music in his life,
totally,
in that way. And he's very musically oriented too. Yeah. But I think it is important. And it's an important part of our culture.
Yeah, it really is.
And I really believe in staying connected to classical music.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think it's spiritual.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I still learn Hindustani classical. Yeah. Like as an adult, that's when, like in 2013, I started learning that. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to stick with Hindustani music. It's so beautiful. And I feel like it's such a form of meditation. Like I struggle with like normal meditation, but if I just sit down to sing, it's like, it honestly has the same effect of meditation for me. Yeah. So, it's like a beautiful thing. And I think we should be able to, it's like such a beautiful, rich heritage and tradition that we need to be able to like pass it down, and it cannot get lost,
I know. I'm like,
or diluted.
do you feel like it's getting lost? Because like that's my sense. Because even when in our local communities, especially here, but even in India, like I'll talk to my friends that were born in India, came here to work, right? And they're not even into Indian classical music at all.
Yeah, a lot of friends are not into. A lot of my friends in India are, they're into like rock and like other things.
Or pop or Bollywood or
But I think there is a subset of people, like a subset of kids at least, like the people that learn from my guru. There's a lot of kids. Like I'm like the adult there, honestly. Like everyone else's kids. So I do think that tradition does still exist, thankfully. And I have tabla player friends who play a lot of music, like Hindustani musical concerts or Carnatic classical. So I do think that it exists, but I think it's harder for a new generation of like singers, kind of like how we would go to, like December was always the music festival season, like music season. Yeah. There was a lot of Carnatic concerts. We would go to all of them at the Sabha. But like now I don't know how many new singers. It's not like that many. There is still some. But I feel like, but I don't think we're going to fully lose it, hopefully. Because I think what I have realized, even if you listen to some of the most recent Bollywood songs, if it's composed around like a Hindustani raga or Indian raga, I feel like it becomes really popular because as kind of like a collective, we have a nostalgia for like Indian classical music. Because I feel like here everyone has this like nostalgia for like old disco or like old R&B or like, so you know, we have kind of this like throwback, like Adele's music like reminds you of like the 60s singers, and all of them like really draw from that inspiration. And I feel like for us, like as South Asians, like we draw from Hindustani and Carnatic music. And so I think that's kind of our nostalgia, and that's who we really connect with ultimately at the end of the day. So I don't fully think that it's going to be lost.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear. Cause like I have other friends that are very much in it, and you know, it's all the perspective is in the beholder's perspective,
totally.
Right? And he will often be like, oh, you know, nobody comes to the concerts, or like there's like
they're a little bit lower paying,
lower attendance, you know, things like that. And it saddens me because like I could easily, because I grew up with it, I could easily sit for hours,
and like listen. I think there's also, unfortunately, I don't know if it's there anymore, but there is like a little bit of like a classist, elitist thing around classical music. And it's not necessarily like for the masses, like marketed for the masses, you know? So I feel like that is also, accessibility is also a little difficult. So I think some people are very vocal about it. Like TM Krishna, he's amazing. He's one of my favorite vocalists, and he talks about it all the time. And it's like people in the kind of scene, you know, who are vocal about it. It's cool. Like you have to be acknowledging of that, because I feel like that's why it's like sometimes more lower attendance or lower paying. It's just lower visibility in general, because traditionally it has been elitist.
Oh, that's an interesting perspective.
Kind of,
yeah. Is it meaning elitist like upper class would listen only, basically? Yeah. I get what you mean.
Like traditionally, like just going back many, many, many generations, like centuries.
Yeah. It was
very,
like sort
very
of
for the kings.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
what I was about to say.
For royalty.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's an interesting. I like that perspective. I mean, I didn't have that in my frame at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean, I'm not in the scene, but this is what anecdotally I get from a lot of my friends who are in the scene, and who talk about it a lot. But this is what they say. But I think I do think that it's like, I don't think it's ever going to be lost.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. It just feels like here, specifically in the U.S., I'll say.
Oh, yeah, in the U.S. It's tough. Yeah. The U.S., I feel like we're all just trying to survive, because there's like so many I feel like Carnatic and classical music is just kind of, it's like the last thing on people's minds sometimes, because you're like trying for visibility and representation in the most basic ways. And so I feel like this is such a like deep rooted tradition that we're like, okay, we just need like basic representation and then we'll get into the nuances of it. So I think in the US, it's definitely like far from people's minds, but there are organizations, especially in LA, that bring artists and stuff. So, which is really cool.
Back in the day, I mean, I used to go watch Zakir Hussain like in Philadelphia and stuff, and it'd be like packed, and it would actually be mostly white people, honestly, which is interesting.
That's interesting.
To see.
Okay, cool.
But,
all right.
But anyhow, did you grow up speaking Tamil?
I did.
At home?
Yep.
Okay.
I speak Tamil fluently. I also learned Hindi. I can read and write Hindi. I can't read and write Tamil. I can read and write Hindi and speak in Hindi, which is good. But I wonder if like my Hindi has a little bit of a South Indian tinge to it. It might. That's what I've been told. So I'm going to just say it does. So my mom was very particular about that. Also my party, like my grandma was very particular. She was like, oh, just talk to me in Tamil. Like we can't lose it. But then now if she like yells at me, it's going to be in English. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah. If her temper is raised, my grandma is yelling at me in full English. And I'm like, where was this? Like when I was growing up, you can speak fluent English. Goodbye. Like, but she always did that. She always like, and my mom will be like, oh, if she's mad, she's speaking English.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Oh my God, I can just see this ma like.
Especially in public spaces. I'm like, we are in America. You are yelling at me in English. Like, can you at least pretend to like yell at me in Tamil? Like, this is too much. Yeah. So my mom was like, great, everyone's going to understand why we're fighting.
You'll just hide it a little bit.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah. I grew up learning. And my family is from Palakkad. So
where is that?
It's in Kerala.
Okay.
But we're Palakkad Tamil. So my Tamil is mixed with Malayalam. And so my mom and my uncle and my grandma all speak fluent Malayalam.
Okay.
I cannot. Okay. But I can sing in Malayalam and I can get around in Kerala. Like, I love Kerala. It's like it is my favorite place in India, I have to say. Yeah. And yeah, like I can get around and be like, get myself places or like order food and things like that. But if you talk to me faster than more than like 2 sentences, I'll be like, I don't know. So yeah. So that's one of my goals, is to like get fluent in Malayalam eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then when you started to get into like your roots and your music in college?
In college, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you start to do? And what started to inspire you to make it? Because you were pre-med.
I was pre-med.
Yeah. So what had you make the change?
So junior year of college, I met Shankar actually sophomore year, and we started dating at that time. And then he was in India on a scholarship because he was learning from Hari Prasad Chaurasia, like the flute player.
Yeah.
He was learning Hindustani music on clarinet.
He's amazing.
Incredible. And so Shankar was like, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. I have no money. I need 2 singers to like sing a song. He's like, what song can your sister, what is your favorite song like growing up? And we were like, oh no, I don't like any songs. And then we were like, wait, we actually love this one song. Nina Naindal was like my favorite song. And it's in Darbari Kannada. And he's like, all right, fine, just sing it. I'll just like arrange it. So in my dorm room, he just put up some mics, recorded us, and did the video at the same time. So it was like a live recording. Wow. And he was just like walking around with a little camera, and then he just added some instruments to it, like added his clarinet and things like that. And then that got some attention online. And so we did like 3 more videos with him. And then because of that, we would tour with him because people would like request my sister and I to sing like live. And so we would go with him. And I was like, wait, is music a thing? Like I saw him be successful with it. Like he wasn't getting paid very much at that time, but I remember just being like, this is still viable. Like people would come to his concerts like fully sold out here, like, That's awesome. Yeah, it was very cool. And so I was like, oh, this is a cool thing. And he had a very interesting perspective on classical music because he's very much into Indian classical music, even though he's a white person with an Indian name.
He's a white person.
Yeah, he's a white person.
Okay, I wasn't tracking that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. He like grew up listening to Shakti, and like he's like one of his all-time favorite, ensembles.
How did he learn Indian classical?
He grew up just like he grew up in Western Massachusetts, and so he has like, and his parents were very into Indian spirituality and things like that, and so they grew up kind of like basically very exposed to Indian culture. Yeah. They have Indian names and things like that. So he grew up listening to bhajans and Shakti and Mahavishnu Orchestra and like all of these things. And so he was very inspired by that. But he had a very unique perspective, I feel like, on classical music because he went to school for Western classical music. So he's like, I want to kind of combine it and the arrangements and see how this could be like a thing. Very inspired by Shakti, of course. And so that got attention. I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's like try. And so in 2013, I was studying for my MCATs and I was like miserable. And I was like, oh my God, I hate this. Like, I can't do this. Yeah. I was working for a cardiology clinic as like an assistant. And I was like, that was fun. That was fine. And then in August 2013, I remember this so clearly. I was like talking to my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm quitting my job. Like, I have to go. And she was like, okay. That's when we had that whole conversation. She's like, I'll give you 2 years, figure it out. And I moved to Bombay. So I moved to Bombay in September of 2013. Hard? Yeah, it was. But I was just like ready. I was like so determined. I literally was like, I do not care. I will do anything. And so I got a flat in Bombay. That was really hard. Getting a flat was so tough, especially if you're like an unmarried couple.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Shankar and I were like, oh, we're not going to have parties. I promise we're just like some musicians. I just need to learn, Hindustani music for a bit. And so we were there till 2015. And then I moved back in with my mom for a second, both of us actually. And then, yeah, we put up my first video in 2015 because my mom was like, it's 2 years. Like,
So what did you do in Bombay during that time?
So I toured with Chunker's ensemble. We did some private gigs.
Yeah.
I was the main singer for his ensemble at that time. And I learned music. I basically entrenched myself in learning music. It was just like, honestly, I had a lesson every other day. So I'd practice. It was like hours and hours of practice and really, really like being entrenched in it. Learning how to make really good chai. Like, I don't want to brag, but
I want to hear this.
My not so humble brag is that I make excellent chai. Excellent. Because I learned from the best. And so my teachers are really good. And so I make an excellent chai. So I learned that in my time in Bombay. I can make a pav bhaji. I can make saag paneer. Like, I got really good at cooking as well. I really enjoyed my time in Bombay, and it's still one of I think my favorite cities in the world is Bombay. Yeah. It's amazing. I was there for a while, and then moved back to the US in 2015 because my rent went up in Bombay, and I was like, can't pay that. So I moved back home, and I've been kind of floating.
And so what inspired your first album?
So my full first album was Kut the Fire. And I remember being like, I've done a bunch of covers and mashups. Like, I don't really want to, I feel ready to make my own music. And so we just wrote a bunch of songs. I think I wrote like 20 songs, and only like 6 made it on there. And one of the singles was Be Free, and then obviously Kut the Fire. So we released them as singles, as well as and then compiled it into an album. And so I was like, I feel ready for my kind of, it felt like a representation of my childhood a little bit, like very literal representation. It's like, okay, here I am singing in Malayalam, and here I am singing in English, and there is Chenda, but there's also an 808. There's also, so there's very like literal elements of my childhood that feel so separate, but then like trying to make it like a cohesive thing. Yeah. So that was kind of my inspiration. I was like, I just want to kind of extend my mashups, but into my own kind of language and world and compositions. Yeah. So it was my first time also like really composing for myself, and because I feel like I was never encouraged to compose growing up, or like apart from like your little improv sections, I wasn't even like, you never made songs for yourself. You just sang other people's songs. Honestly, like classical music, you're just like covering other people's compositions. Yeah. Like, it's just fully singing.
Or you kind of get creative with the ragas, right?
Right, but that's like that's you improv within a certain framework, which is great. But I feel like creating your own song and your own kind of composition is such a different ball game. And so I was very scared to do that in the beginning. But I was like, let me just try. And so, we did it. And that was like my first.
Did you do it? Did you and your sister do it, or you did it on your own?
No, I did it with Shankar.
Oh, you did it with Shankar?
Yeah, Shankar produced all the tracks on it. Yeah. He co-wrote some of the songs with me. Yeah. And we did it together.
Was there like a creative process that you felt like you went through for that first album?
The first album, I think I would say like it was basically just me trying to like figure out what sticks in some way, like whatever sounded good intuitively. And then I'm like, okay, the end product either sucks or it doesn't. So a lot of them were bad. Okay. Like, I was like, this is kind of bad. This is never seeing the light of day. But I think you have to get through some of those bad songs to arrive at the good ones. Cause I feel like you have to kind of like get in the mode of writing. And because I was so new to composing at that time, I felt really scared of it. I was like, oh, this is going to sound bad. Like, you can't go into something being like, oh, it's going to sound bad. But that was my entire mentality. I was like, this is going to sound bad. I was like, this is so bad already. Like, I already have like such high anxiety about things. And so I like, oh, this is so bad. And so Shankar would be like, okay, we cannot go into sessions being like, this is bad, because it's just going to, like, we're just spoiling it for ourselves, So that took a second to...
But sometimes you're working through all of those like mental barriers too, true. Right? Like, because it's a very difficult thing to fully put yourself out there in this way that you are, and then feel like, okay, there's this is what we do. Like, we're like, oh my God, these people are so much better than me. Like, I'm nothing compared to that.
Yes,
especially
exactly.
in classical music. That's like, you're always a student forever and ever.
Oh no, I don't even consider myself. I'm not comparing myself to a single classical person because I'm like, I'm not in that realm, and it's my inspiration, but I would never pretend to be like even like a light.
But even see that mentality. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is the mentality. This is what I mean. Because it's just that, it's that way. So, so I get, and I'm not saying that you were just trying to put that kind of music out there, but like, it was a part of what you were trying to.
And I also think that I remember when I released Coat the Fire and Be Free, it was very different. Like, Coat the Fire specifically, very different from all of like kind of the like pretty mashups that I've been doing until then. And it was like hard hitting. I was dancing in the video. I spent like weeks in dance rehearsals, dancing in heels for the first time, like all of these things. And I remember being so scared to put it out, but very excited because I was like, oh, this is so different. And I like want to make this kind of like cut the fun music. And then almost everybody hated it when I first put it out. And I was like, oh, I can't get out of bed. I was so depressed reading the comments. And I was so mad because I was like, why don't people like this? Like, I don't get it. But then fast forward like 4 years after that, people started like requesting them at concerts, doing dances to it. There's like a meme around it. And I was like, oh, sometimes it's just like things take time. But in the moment, I felt like so dejected. But I was like, I'll just have to put it on anyway. I was like, it's too late. Even Be Free, they were like, oh, you're ruining the song. What is this? Like, why are you writing English around it? And I was like, okay, this is rough to hear. That's like for the initial gut reaction. But then like fast forward, even now, like I think it's been 9 years since I released that. And it's like people are still listening to it. So I don't know. Like it's a kind of like a whiplash, honestly, for me. So I try not to look at any comments. I'm like, I can't listen to it. So I just have to like, it's very insular. You have to be insulated a little bit when you're creating. And then even after you put it out, you have to be like, oh, moved on. Can't look at it.
Well, that is really interesting that it took like 4 years, because we're in like such a environment of like instant gratification that like it taking even that long for you to see how it started to catch on over time.
There was like one small subset I remember in my show in Pune that year that I released Coat the Fire that year in 2017. And then I had a tour, my Coat the Fire tour later that year. And I took a small subset of like people in the front that were holding up posters for Coat the Fire. And that was like the first time I'd seen like positive reinforcement for that song. And I was like, over the moon. I was like, oh my God. It made me so emotional. I was like, I can't believe they're requesting my song. They were like chanting it. Like between every song, they were just like, Coat the Fire. And I was like, it's coming, like an hour into my set, but it's coming. And so that felt very gratifying. So I was like, okay, at least some people like it. Maybe they're not online and like commenting mean things.
Yeah. But it sounds like it came from you. Like you were so excited about it and inspired by it. And what does kutta mean?
Kutta is like it comes from the word dabangutta, and it's like a Tamil folk dance and song style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's like the fun 6/8 drums.
Okay.
And it's like a huge like festival. People play it in festivals for parties. If you listen to like any kind of like item song or like any fun like hero beat in Tamil movies, it's always a kutta beat.
Oh, that's cool. All right. And so before this first album, you were doing mashups, right?
Yes,
Where did that inspiration come from? Because like people love your mashups, they love it. And I saw like that you say on your Instagram, like you really tried, and I don't know if that was in the beginning per se, but you said you really tried to make it so that it was like one cohesive song, right? Like that was the intention of it as well. But yeah, where did that inspiration come from?
I started doing mashups in kind of like a desperation because my mom was like, it has been 2 years. Like you have to go back to med school. Like if you are not doing anything with it. And I was like, no, I'm going to put it out. So then I listened to the Sia song, A Big Girl's Cry. And then I recorded all of it. And then we were listening back to it, and Shankar was like, wait, you just spent like your whole life learning Indian music. It doesn't sound like an Indian person singing at all. We need to add some Indian, like a line of some Indian song in it. And so then his idea was to be like, okay, let's try a few. And then we landed on Kabhi Jo Badal, let us say. And we just used that as the chorus. And that's such a beautiful song. Oh my God. So I was like, okay, let me just fit it in here, and it sounded great. So we just was like, okay, let's try, and we got good feedback on it, honestly, in the beginning. Very small subset, but we did get like
what did you sent it out to like friends?
No, we posted it online on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. And then we're like, okay, let's keep going. So then our second song was Hosanna with Love Me Like You Do. So I just picked like whatever pop songs were around at that time to be like, because I wanted to do music, but I did not know what I wanted my original music to sound like. Yeah. So I was like, let me just pick songs that I like and just try and sing them. And there's like a practice with them and then make videos and just like get my presence online a little bit to also basically show that I can sing and I'm doing music. And my mom was like, could be chill about me going to med school. So
it was a push.
It really was, honestly. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it today. Literally, I'm not even joking. My mom had this like big conversation and I was like, Mom, I'm putting out a video today. Like we literally did it in 3 hours. I recorded the song. I just went outside my mom's building and I just like shot this. There was like a little pond area and I was like, I'm just going to shoot this here. Yeah. Yeah. And I already had crazy blue hair by that time. Like I dyed it a few months ago and I was like, my hair is ready, whatever. I'm just going to do it. Yeah. Yeah. And so we kind of like really got into that. And because I've really also felt like here I am like learning indie music. I learned growing up, but then I always enjoy listening to, hip hop and rock and pop and all of the different genres of American music as well, or in global music in general. And so I was like, let me just like try and combine these two songs and then see how it goes. I mean, I'm not an inventor of mashups. I did not invent them. But I feel like I had a very conscious choice of being like, this cannot sound like jarring. It cannot just like come from a left field. So
a lot of them do, even though they think they don't. But
no, it does. And you have to make sure you have to match like the lyrics. You have to match like the feeling of the lyrics. You have to match the vibe, the tempo. If it's slowed down or sped up, does it sound messed up? Because you do have to adjust tempo. Like one song will win over usually, and then the second song has to adjust to that tempo. Yeah. So it's very technical, and we did so many that didn't work. Yeah. I have so many in the vault that some of them I've put in my live show now.
So when you say it didn't work, what do you mean by that? Like you put it out there and there's like crickets?
No, I didn't even put them out.
Oh, you didn't even put them out?
No. It's just like, because it's kind of a puzzle piece. So you try and see if it's working. This is like, sound good. And then we come back to it a few days later and I'd be like, this doesn't sound cohesive enough. And I only put out the ones that worked. So I was like, if I was confident, I'm like, I can listen to this. And if I liked it 2 days after I made it, then we would put it out. Yeah. So, and at that time we were doing a video every 2 weeks, and that was so intense.
That is.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a little easier with mashups because you're not really thinking about it. You're not creating something
from
new.
Scratch.
Yeah, from scratch. And it's a little easier to do a derivative work than something original. So I think, so I feel like it's, as I shifted to original music, it's a little harder to like put out regular, content. Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds like, so were you procrastinating till your mom said like, dude?
No, I was kind of just like vibing. I was like enjoying my like learning my music. Like honestly, I think I needed that time to reconnect with my love for music, especially classical music, because there are parts of me that I used to love it as a kid, but I think because it was associated with violence, I always felt like I couldn't even approach that. So through some therapy, through kind of linking that, I feel like, and just like focusing on the classical music on its own, like without the emotional trigger of the violence, was really important. And I needed that time in Bombay to do that. And so then when I was living with my mom, she was like, okay, it's time. Like, so she kind of just saw me being like practicing and like taking lessons. And she's like, okay, this is all great, but you can't be just like practicing and like learning music. You need to be doing other things. You need to make money. Yeah. So I was like, I'll do it. Yeah. Yeah.
What is one thing, I mean, I love that you brought up therapy and just like, even, like I imagine I'm not a musician and I'm not a composer.
You are, you play harmonium. Excuse me. Okay, you are.
That I do. But like, they're creative blocks and you chose to get some therapy, which I don't think a lot of people choose to do in those situations. What had you do that for yourself? And what is like a nugget that you really started to like connect or release or let go of through therapy?
My mom was a big proponent of it, and post her divorce, she had my sister and I in therapy together, actually. And she had us journaling, and she was very like, there's no shame around it. And she herself got therapy. And it was like, and it was free through some
That's
court
pretty
mandated
major,
thing.
by the way.
It's major.
Like for that generation at
I
that
know.
time to say that and
even
request support.
Yeah.
It's insanely amazing.
I know. It's so good.
I'm like, I need to meet your mom.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. She's so progressive and chill. Like, I love her. But yeah, so because of that, I feel like I already knew like some of my triggers, and I already knew like what are the things I needed to work on. And so when I was learning music, I felt like I just needed to focus. First of all, it did help that I switched to Hindustani music. I think, because the style is different. Yeah. The vibe is different. Like the way they teach is different. Notations
and so you didn't have that connotation
exactly
to Carnatic music.
Carnatic music. So I feel like I couldn't immediately just jump into Carnatic music. I wasn't ready, even at that time. It had been like 5 years at that time since the divorce, but I still could not switch to Carnatic music. There was so much around that. Even the community was very conservative, and so they, like our community specifically in Virginia, Maryland, and so they were very conservative, and so even that, there was like so many friends that didn't support it. So I was like, I just didn't. It's not necessarily has anything to do with the music, but more of the community.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just start fresh. Somebody doesn't know me, doesn't know my history. And so that really helped me to like switch to Hindustani music. And then I would occasionally, like a year into that, I would then go back to some of my Carnatic music lessons and just, again, this idea of like reclaiming it for myself, because inherently it's such a beautiful art. And I have negative connotations associated with it, but it's inherently beautiful and so positive and like the so devotional and spiritual. So I was like, oh, I should just try this and like see how I feel. And honestly, spending like a year in Hindustani music and Western vocals, I was able to just like switch. And I was like, oh, this is totally okay. It's because I had to just like de-link the connotation with music in general.
Yeah.
You know, like music in general, I think what I realized was associated with violence for me. And so it just happened to be that Carnatic music was the scapegoat, because that's what we would learn and had the violence around it. But I think music in general as an overall. So I felt like, let me just try it and see. And then, it was just like slowly you just keep reinforcing a positive cycle, like a positive feedback cycle. And then you can just like de-link your trauma from it. Yeah. So it did really help me a lot, honestly.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, I was talking about your mom, but it's also amazing that you sought out the support around it. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of people, even if they did grow up with some form of it, will sort of resist it still, you know? But that's really interesting that like, you, on one hand, you were like pursuing it so hard. Yeah. And on the other hand, you had all this internalized resistance to it, right?
I did.
Isn't that so interesting?
It's very
how they
interesting.
coexist like that?
100%. And also it's like facets of it, right? Because I feel like
how those two things coexist together.
Yeah. I guess I was saying, the two things coexist together, but also I feel like there's certain facets of it that felt more negative than others. Like I feel like I've never had a negative association with bhajans, or like I mentioned earlier, and Hindustani music was just neutral to me because I've never really studied it growing up or heard much of it growing up. And so then I was just able to be like, okay, this is a neutral thing. Let me just jump into it and see.
Did the therapist recommend that, or you just figured
that
out?
No, I just figured that out. The therapist was very good about working with just like some of the trauma. Yeah. And I figured out there was trauma around music because of her. Yeah. So she was really good about that. She was like, sounds like, because both my sister and I have trauma around music. And so we were like, so she was, and it's different for both of us. So she was basically like, okay, it sounds like you both have trauma around music. Like, so that stuck with me a lot. So I was like, okay, how do I, because I want to do music so badly. And I saw slivers of loving it again through Shankar on his YouTube channel and performing with him, and just like how connecting it can be with like literally random people across the world. And so I was like, okay, so it's not all bad. and I need to just like figure out what it is. And so it really helped that I was, first of all, in a new environment, like in Bombay, you know, completely, I only had a few friends there at that time. So I didn't really know that many people. And so I was just like trying to find my way around it. So all of it, I think, helped me just like de-link the trauma a little bit. So yeah, I think it really helped me.
Yeah, that's amazing. What is amazing is that most people, if they have like a negative connotation with something, they won't even go back to it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because, and I'm not saying, you know, there's different ways to perceive this. Like sometimes it's okay. Yeah. But I also really feel like when you do face it, it's a beautiful thing, like a beautiful healing.
It's very healing.
That happens.
But I also think I realized that actually all music is inherently positive.
Yes.
And all forms of art are inherently positive. And so I think for me to have a negative connotation almost felt unfair because I was like, here's this like tradition that's older than me by centuries, by thousands of years. And here I am having this like, you know, kind of emotional reaction to it. Like aversion to it, really, not emotional reaction, just kind of aversion to it. And it felt like unfair. And I'm like, I can't disrespect the art like that. And so that's also a part of me that was like, no, I need to figure out a way to reassociate with it without having like an anxiety attack, you know? So, that really helped, like thinking about that, being like, no, it's actually a beautiful thing. It's the way, it's like such a deep tradition. And it was like also part of me reconnecting with my heritage at that point, like over many years. So. Yeah.
I mean, when I heard that that's what you grew up with, like outside of all of everything else, like I was just like, what a blessing. Yeah. You know, that you had that lineage in your sphere and in you. Yeah. And that is a blessing. And it's so great that you saw it that way and came back to it.
I'm grateful. Honestly, I feel like my therapist helped a lot. Yeah. So I'm grateful that I was able to like make that realization.
Because you would have literal panic attacks.
Like anxiety just listening, or I would never pick to listen to it, you know, that's not something I would ever do. Yeah. I would never pick to sing it really, until, like I've had to sing this, like a few songs for Shankar's channel, and I really enjoyed singing those. So even like recontextualizing it with Shankar and my sister, like, because my sister and I sang together, I was like, oh, this is actually fine. Like, it's an enjoyable thing. It's a beautiful thing. And like recontextualizing it with his arrangements, you know, not just your traditional arrangements of like violin and mridangam. He had clarinet, tabla, you know, strings, like so many different arrangements that I was like, oh, I've never heard Carnatic music at that point in this context. And so hearing it in like a different context too, like slowly was like piqued my curiosity. I was like, maybe I should just like think about this and like revisit this a little bit. Yeah. But I would literally listen to it and be like, have anxiety, because I'm like, oh, it just like brought me back to this like crazy
memories,
right?
Yeah. Like there'll be like vivid memories.
Then also you're just kind of like, you remember how your body felt unsafe with that. So it really becomes an association.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that, sometimes I love to see how like these horrible things that happen to us as humans, because nobody's without something like that. Yeah. And how that actually translates into some of our blocks, but it also translates into some of our like biggest strengths. Yeah, totally. You know, and the fact that you like mash up, I mean, I'm not just saying mashups, but even in your own creations. Yeah, totally. Like you have, you explored different things because of also the resistance. Yeah, totally. Right? Yeah. You explored these different ways of creating music because of the resistance, and then came back to it. Yeah, totally. Yeah. How healing was it for you to start to include Carnatic music back in a significant way? Oh, so healing. It was incredible, because I was like, oh, this is something that can exist separate from my childhood. And I absolutely, like, it was life-changing for me, honestly, because I was like, then I could just associate music, all types of music, just positively, not just like this one dark cloud in the corner that's like, oh, this is something I can't think about or listen to. But yeah, no, it ended up being like very healing, and to be able to like perform it as well was very healing. And I still perform some of it in my concerts, like some bits of classical is in my concerts, and yeah, it's great. I'm like, oh, this is actually like so fine and like, okay, you know, and the farther I get from
my childhood, I feel like the easier it is also, you know, because also many years of therapy. There's like so many things that I feel like all contribute to it. So it's great.
Do you feel like you are on the other side of that now?
For sure. Yeah. I feel like
you are.
Yeah, for sure. I have been for a while. I feel like before, basically since I started my music journey, I've been on the other side of it, honestly. Like I feel like starting in college and into kind of a few years after college, I felt like I'd done a lot of work, and to be able to disassociate from all of those things, not disassociate as in like be in I get what but you mean, like
not have it so linked together.
Exactly. Because I feel like for a lot of the times was like, oh, I can't listen to it. It has to be like full resistance from it. But then I was like, independently, this can exist because it's still beautiful. And that happened basically a little bit outside of college and definitely before I started music full time. Yeah.
Okay. Would you be open to singing like a couple lines of your favorite budget? If not, you don't have to.
Yeah, I can. My voice is not warmed up at all.
If you don't want to sing it.
We could sing it, and if it's bad, you don't have to put it
Okay. Just like a couple lines. I just wanted to hear a budget.
A budget?
That you love.
Okay.
A budget that you love.
I have so many. Oh my God. Wow. This is like giving me, you know that interview of like name one woman and you know you can't remember a single woman?
I know.
This is
okay. Whichever budget first comes to you. Let's do that. This
is not a budget. It's actually a Carnatic music song. And because we've been talking about my YouTube journey, it's come to, like, I can remember it.
Okay.
It's good. Wait. Maybe I should get my thumper up. Actually, whatever.
You want to do that?
I was like, maybe I should just get it. Wait, it's fine. Nini naindalagadadu undo neerajadalanayani Mahalakshmi Nini naindalagadadu undo neerajadalanayani Mahalakshmi.
Oh. That was so good. I'm a crier, but still, that was so good. It was about Lakshmi Devi?
Yes. It's about it's Devi Bhajan, actually. Yeah. It's actually not a bhajan. It's like an actual Carnatic song.
It's a song.
Yeah.
Okay.
By Perisami. Don't keep this in there. I don't know who it is. I can't remember the name of his name. I should know this. Turer, something like that. But yeah, it's such a beautiful.
Oh,
you should listen to Shankar's arrangement of it. It's beautiful.
That's so
it's
good.
So good. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Made me cry. It's so soulful. Yeah.
It really is, and it like really expands. I'll sing it all of it for you after. It's fine. It's really nice.
You're gonna make me like cry. So are you and Shankar still together?
Yeah, we've been together for so long. We worked together, which is also in the beginning. I was like, oh.
Yeah. What was that like?
We started dating before we started working together. And so then when he was in India for his Fulbright, like he's like, okay, well, decided he wanted to do music full time because he went to school for music. So he always knew he wanted to do music full time. And he was a big part of kind of helping me through making my decision as well. And so, yeah, we've been together for like 17 years now. Isn't that crazy? And I feel so old thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, we were babies when we started dating.
I know, when you're together, but I mean, me and my husband together since college, so
it's like, a long time. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet though. It's great that you like co-create in that way.
Yeah,
make music together.
It's really fun, and he's like leads my band and does all the arrangements, and I feel like he has a really interesting perspective on mixing like Western and Indian music because he studied very deeply both classical forms, Hindustani classical and Western classical. He's like was very entrenched in it growing up. And so because of that, it gives him a very unique perspective on it. And also he studied jazz. And so like he's very, very knowledgeable, which is something that I don't have that much Western classical knowledge. Yeah. So usually when we're like composing in the studio, if he's like making a beat or whatever, like I usually bring some of like the Indian melodies to it, and then he has like Western arrangements, and he also is very good at Indian melodies, but yeah, and like ragas and stuff, he like knows everything. Like I'm always like, Shankar, what raga is this? And he'll be like, Mia Malhar, and I'm like, oh, thank you.
Oh, that's so supportive.
Yeah,
it feels so supportive when you're talking about it.
He's very supportive, and so now, but we're dividing and conquering a little bit because he's producing for other artists, and I still have to like tour and do my thing, so like I kind of now I do that on my own a little bit, and then he's doing his like production and mixing for other artists here. So it depends.
Does your grandmother approve?
Yes. Oh my God. They are such good friends. So when Shankar was in India, he used to live with my grandma for a bit.
Really?
Yeah. He was composing for a Tamil movie, which never ended up coming out. Sad face. But he was there in Chennai for a year, and he lived with my grandmother.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. So they play music.
Oh yeah, she speaks English.
Yeah, speaks English. Right. Yeah.
I was like,
They're like chums. She always brought his clarinet, so they would sing together every day and like all that stuff. I mean, my grandma is a big singer, and so she like loved it. She loved it. She ate it up. Like honestly, when I visit my grandma's place, I still find some of Shankar's things there. I'm like, why is Shankar's weights are still there? And I'm like, why is it still here? Like
she's like, I'm just keeping it.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
him.
She's like, in case he comes back and needs to use it. And I was like, what about me?
Yeah, totally. You're like me.
Yeah,
me.
Exactly.
We need some things here for me.
Exactly.
So what is your like spiritual ritual? Do you have a spiritual ritual for yourself? Not just to create music, but just day to day for yourself? Do you have?
I do actually.
Okay.
I've never spoken about this. So exclusive. Just kidding. It doesn't matter. No one's asked me. Yeah, I do. I light the lamps every day. I have a little like a mantra archana that I do, I don't do it, but like it's the Guru Stotram that I just play like a recording of. And I sing. My practice is honestly like my music practice is my spiritual ritual. Like I could just be doing scales or anything, but it just feels so nice to like have that. And then I usually light some type of like dhoop or agarbatti.
Yeah.
I was about to say it in Tamil and I was like, I can't think of that. And agarbatti, so that's really nice, and just have that. Because my mom did that growing up every day. My grandma does it still every single day. She's 85.
Yeah.
Without fail, morning and night. I don't do it morning and night, I only do it in the evening. So that's kind of been, if I'm in town, that's my ritual. Yeah.
And what do you sort of like say to yourself when you're like in that ritual, right? Like if I'm lighting the diya, right? And like I would say my mantras and stuff, but I'm like also thinking about certain things or visualizing certain things about like for me, it's mostly my own spiritual progression of my soul. It's like sort of where I go with it.
Yeah.
But is there somewhere you go with it?
No, I think it's a grounding ritual for me. I think it's more of connecting with the feeling of home, because I'm on the road so much, and when I'm home, it makes me feel like very grounded. And my family and I are devotees of Amma. She's like the hugging saint, Mata Amritanandamayi. And so, so play some of her bhajans and just like light the lamps, in front of her picture. And also like I have a Ganesh idol and like a Lakshmi idol that my mom gave, the Ganesh idol my grandma gave. So it's like kind of like all of these bits of my little puja area that is from my family. And so I feel like it's really connects me to them and connects me to home, because I don't live close to my family. And so it's really nice to have that kind of tradition that like I'm passing it on for myself.
Yeah, that's really cool. And when you're touring, you just like take it all out?
No, I don't tour with it.
Oh, you don't tour with it? Okay, I was wondering if you toured with it. I don't know.
I should maybe. My touring ritual is like so different. I feel like my touring ritual is like I eat an egg white omelet in the morning, and then I have to have dal and rice for lunch, and also dal and rice right before I get on stage.
Yeah, for that extra protein.
Yeah, that's all. Because it's like if I'm staying in like random hotels, like I don't experiment with food at all.
Yeah.
When I'm touring, and so I'm just like, okay, that is like my meditation, and then I'm like warming up and stuff. So it's like usually too stressful to bring other things. I just have too many things already. And I'm like, okay, I can't bring like precious things with me. Like I do have like one japa mala like in my bag.
Yeah.
But it's just there as like a safeguard, and not necessarily something I bring out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, if you, I just got this intuitive sense as you were talking, like if you like carry something like that around, it would like help you.
I do.
Right?
It's like my little like thing. Cause I got that job the year that I decided I was going to do music. And I was like, okay, this feels nostalgic to me. Cause I want it to be with me because I'm touring for this thing that I bought this mala for. Yeah. And so, it's kind of random, but I just like hold on to it. And it honestly doesn't even leave my bag. I'm too scared of it
getting lost.
I just would be like devastated. So I was just like, no, it's just going to stay in my bag. And I don't, So I feel like my touring ritual is like, my show rituals are so different and usually don't include any type of puja. Although maybe it should now. I'm thinking about it. But I also I feel like music is the spiritual. Like music is the puja to me. Like it's the worship, the art is the worship. And it's so subjective for everybody. Yeah. So I don't feel like I need to do any extra things. Yeah.
But I love that you said it's like sort of like grounding for you, right?
It is.
So like what I imagine is just like connecting you to something way bigger than yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That always grounds us.
Yeah.
Especially what you're doing, you're in, famous. Yeah. And you're in the eye. And you're in the eye of a lot of people. Yeah. And, it's how do you not get swept away in some of that at times? Like that's, it's like, I think it's a question. Yeah. But also, I can see that like you would need some of that grounding. Yeah. I think anybody needs it. Yeah. It's not that. But especially when you are accessing masses on some level, and you're getting feedback like that. Yeah.
I think it's also, I get homesick a lot. Like I really am like a big family gal. Like I love hanging out with my mom and sister and my grandma. Like they are my true, like they're just like the closest people in my fam, like to me. Yeah. And so we all live in different cities. And so then.
Wait.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Oop, not me.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was saying...
You all live in different cities?
Yeah, we all live in different cities. And so when I do this like lighting ritual, like my sister does it, my mom does it. So it's kind of like a thing that we all are doing at the same... Or not at the same time because they're in different time zones. But
it's like a connection.
It's a connection. Yeah. And it's like something that my mom passed down to my sister and I. Like my grandma passed down to my mom. So I feel like it's more of that sense of like, oh, I'm just like continuing this tradition that connects me to the people before me. And like, cause like my grandma's mom passed it down to her. And so it's like all of the women in like my family line, it's like, I feel connected to all of them when I do that. Yeah. And in general, like, I feel like even when I was writing Sundari, that's this like big thing I really think about a lot because the women before us, like what am I doing? I'm like literally a person who is tromping around the world, like doing music. And just 2 generations ago, even for my grandma, that is unthinkable. That was not a choice she had. Yeah. And definitely her mom, she had like 8 kids. She did not have that choice. They lived in a village in like South India. And so I just feel like just in a few generations, like look how things have changed is because, 1 second. That's fine.
But you caught it.
I got it.
I love the necklace too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Also Pandi Bazaar.
Yeah.
It's like 200 rupees.
Oh my God, I know, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I needed it when I was in India. I went to the South because I haven't gone to Kerala yet.
Oh, it's the best.
I know. I really want to go. I really, really want to go.
Best.
So we went to Mangalore and...
Oh, beautiful. Lovely.
Yeah. Coorg and then...
Coorg is stunning.
It's amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah.
Okay, I was saying, this idea that the women before us like had to make these big sacrifices and never received their flowers, and I feel this heavy kind of not burden, but this like heavy responsibility that I'm carrying their flowers that they were supposed to receive. And so ultimately this even though it's a small ritual of like lighting your diyas or lighting your lamps, like I feel like it's a ritual that I carry from generations. And that's why it feels like grounding to me, because I'm connecting to a part of myself that's a little ancient, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think to have that deep thought of like, this is not of just something I've done in this lifetime even, you know?
No.
And as a woman specifically, right? Like, especially with classical music it's like unheard of that women would rise or be famous or be seen for their talents, even though they were extremely talented.
Oh, of course.
You know?
All the greats were, all their gurus were women.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
Yeah. I know. And so I love that you carry that. I feel like that probably also grounds you so much to feel connected to that. Like you carry their flowers, the way you put it.
Yeah. I do. I think it's something that we all do. I feel like we're, only here because of the sacrifices women made before us. And it's something I don't take lightly. I feel like my mom has also told me this. She's like, you have the ultimate luxury, which is choice. And she's like, I didn't have a choice in who I married or when I chose to have kids or what I wanted to do with my life. She's like, you have full agency. Like, don't take it lightly. And so I really think about that. And she used to tell us a lot. And just even my grandma, she'd be like, in my time, like this and that, like even certain things, like having like a vanity van, like my grandma for the first time, she came on a couple of shoots with me and also some concerts. The first concert that I had a vanity van, she was just like, oh my God, is this yours? Like, it was so cute. Like it was a very small thing.
Oh, so
to me, I was like, yeah, I was like, oh, what's the big deal in this? And she was like, no, this is such a cool thing. Like you have your own vanity van. It was like such a big deal to her. And I was like, oh, actually, this must feel so kind of different and so out of her sphere of like her realm of imagination. It's like not even in my wildest dreams I thought I could do music, but it wasn't even my grandma's or my mom's wildest dreams that I could do something like this. So I think, it's also a big part why I feel like I'm always inspired by them. A lot of my songs are inspired by my mom and my grandma.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of where I feel like the matriarchs of my family are like awesome. And I think it's not a unique experience. I think so many of my friends and so many of us, I'm sure even you can think back, you could just like name 100 women in your life that are amazing and have been like doing great things, and sometimes not receiving their flowers,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like what hit me when you were talking about your grandmother, like I'm guessing, obviously, but like there's like a respect that you were getting also, right?
Yeah, right.
To have your own like van and to be like seen in that way, respected in that way as an artist and
totally
who you are. And like that's, I'm not in her head, but that's what I would
that's
imagine.
true. Because even if you can think about just like a few generations before, like acting or musicians in general, like if you were in that entertainment sphere, is not very respected as like a profession. And so just like a few generations later, it's just like any other profession. It's like respected, So I feel like even that change in mentality is very cool to see.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then like, this thing that your mom said to you, you have choice. You have this gift. And I think that so many of us will, I don't mean to say it like this, like are ungrateful for it or anything. Sometimes it's not even conscious, right? Because we're so oriented around our day to day and like what we feel and what we think and all the external stuff. But like I feel like, what was I going with that? Choice.
Yeah, choice. But I think to your point is that is because I feel like we live in a patriarchal society with misogyny. I think as women, we don't realize, a lot of us actually still might not have a choice.
Yeah.
I think it is a privilege to have choice.
Yeah.
Even today, there are probably some women that don't have choice. And I think to be able to have that is the ultimate luxury. And in a patriarchal society that isn't favorable to women in general. So as a woman with choice, and free will, like you have to make the best use of it, and hopefully also elevate other women around you. Like that's my mom's also very, instilled that in me. But like, I think that's very important to do as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Like sometimes I like fight with this idea of choice because I feel like we've all always had choice, but then we also haven't.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
The two things exist together.
Yeah.
Because like to your point with your mom, like maybe she didn't have choice of who she married, and she didn't have choice of when she was going to have kids. And, you know, and then when you have those, like, what do you call, like, threads that are connected to you that you can't do, like when you have kids, you are not yourself anymore, right?
Exactly.
You are forever,
you're forever
like,
changed.
with you and them forever.
Yes.
You know, and so it can absolutely feel like choices are taken away at that point.
100%. And I also think that actually because she grew up in a structured, like in a society that like didn't allow women choice, honestly, and a community that does not allow women choice. Gives men choice, obviously. Does not give women choice. So I think that, and a lot of women don't have that now, even. Like in some, even in the cities, everyone's like, oh, the cities. But like some cities also, they don't have choice.
No, they don't.
Tough.
They don't. They don't have choice. They don't have resources. They don't have access. Right? And they've been told, basically, that they don't have these things. So then it feels like you don't have, you don't have choice. It feels like that because you've been denied so many things, you know, that you just start to believe that.
100%. And I think like there's also real consequences to stepping out of those lines sometimes, like safety, basic consequences that feel like you have to like actually follow the rules, and you have to, this conditions that have been put on you, you do have to follow them because otherwise it's a threat to your safety. So I was just literally like, I was shooting a video a couple weeks ago and I had some dancers there, and they were just like telling me all these crazy stories. And it's like people younger, they're in their 20s now, and they're just saying, we can't wear sleeveless, we can't do this, we can't. It's just like they don't have a choice. It's in India. You just can't. And I was like, and she was like, it's great that you're singing about women power and anthems, but in our day to day, it's not practical. So ultimately, I was like, it really hit home because I was like, they were like, she's like, this is my fourth song of female artists that I'm dancing for that is singing about women power and like let's go, like screw the society expectations, like all these things. Like it's a very like hard hitting song, but she was like, but it's not on my day to day. I can't do that because I have like serious safety consequences.
And repercussions.
So it is something to think about, you know.
It is something to acknowledge. I think that's sort of the US part, or being born outside of India part of us that has had some of those freedoms, right? That and privileges. Where we don't have to think as much about that always. But you're right. I mean, it's just like the consequences that you have to face and the uphill battle. If you do try to step out of line or do what you really want. The uphill battle of what you have to fight to get that.
Is still very difficult. It's massive. And I think I think women all around the world, but I feel like we start at a little bit of a higher level because of certain things and the way culture is here compared to like, you know, in other places like India and stuff. And I think, obviously India is so progressive and women there are incredible. Like they're doing so many things, and I feel like it has some of the coolest cities and people doing amazing things. So I'm not taking away from that, but this is a very like anecdotal, you know, reference and a story that I feel like it was like she was like 21, and I was like, I felt like I was like, oh man, this is crazy. And when she said that to me, I was like, that's fair. That's extremely fair. I hear you. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I just believe paradoxes coexist. You know, and that's something I actually really love about India is that not the fact that women are treated. Oh yeah. I know we have to end, so I'll wrap it up with this last question.
Do you have another interview today?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's hard because the studio makes you do them back to back. Like that has to be like the next one. Otherwise, you have to pay for like an entire day.
Oh, that's insane.
Or like ish.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not paying for a whole day, and then I'm exhausted.
Right.
Going
exactly.
back
Like
to
you
back.
can't. Yeah, that's too much. Yeah.
But I have another one tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. No, I feel like you need an evening in between.
Yeah, you sort of do.
Yeah.
As much as it's like just a 2-hour conversation or 90-minute conversation, it's just like it's a conversation.
It is. It's really, we're delving into it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what I love about India and what I was trying to say is not the aspect of how women are treated. That is something we absolutely need to like think very differently. The patriarchy needs to think differently about it. And, but the paradoxes coexist. Like there are also, just like you said, so many women doing extraordinary work.
Amazing work.
And like when you're in their presence, like I just feel like you're like wowed by them because they've just gone through so much to be where they are.
100%.
That they're just like a force.
Yeah.
You know?
100%. And I think like a lot of my friends now have kids, and to see them raising their sons with this idea that women are equal, and I have so much hope for the next generation, you know, and I feel like that's the only way we can, you know, kind of change culture and move culture. And I think the world is unsafe for women everywhere. I think it is in some places a little bit more because socioeconomic factors really play a huge role in it. And in places, even here, even in the US, even places in India or wherever you are, I think socioeconomic factors play a huge role with your safety. And because you just have access to certain things that I feel like some women don't. And so, yeah, I think that's like important. It's very complicated and important to acknowledge. But I think as an artist, I always I want my music to feel like a safe space for women. And I think a lot of people always ask me, they're like, you don't even sing about love that much. You're only singing about women. Every song is women empowerment, about women, about this woman. And I was like, yeah, well, because women are the unsung heroes of our communities. We need to sing about them. I feel like I want future generations to listen to my music and be like, oh, this is a cool thing. Like like little girls who, I have a lot of fans who are younger, and I want them to be like, oh, I can do this too. And I can do whatever I want to do. And I hope the music like gives them a backing track to that decision or that kind of will, you know? And so I think there are not enough songs about women, in my opinion.
I love that you do that, you know, because I feel like there's like a bajillion songs about love, and they're usually like codependent-ish songs. It's like, but like you're really honoring the depth of where you come from and who you've become. And you're supporting others in feeling that they can do anything.
And even also, like, you know, artists in my, like who are my peers, you know, I have a really, really close friend, Carnatic, who's part of this band Mati Bani, and she's been composing Hindustani bhajans and ghazals. And and she writes her own lyrics, and all of her lyrics are also about women empowerment. She's like, there's no Pia or yearning at the moon or like waiting for a man. And she's like, no, this is about women empowerment.
Save ourselves.
Exactly. And so hearing that, it was amazing. She has this full concept of like all of the Hindustani music, only that's women empowerment. All of the lyrics are that. And I was like, that is so cool. And she's in a completely different genre than me. And just to see that is amazing. So then, you know, you just like pass that down to future generations. Like, why can't it be that?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
The people yearn for a matriarchy. That's all I say.
Yeah, I love that that's what your songs are centered around. And I think even when like, you know, just ending on even that girl that gave you, or that shared, let me say that again.
Yeah.
That girl that shared that story that like I can't, dancer. You know, I can't even wear sleeveless.
Yeah.
You know, even though that's the reality that she's in, like a moment of listening to your songs, like whatever that little bit that comes through, that you're just like gonna like be more fierce, more bold, be more of yourself in some
100%,
way. That comes through.
Yeah.
Even if you can't do the whole thing, right? Even if you can't wear sleeveless, but you do some act where you stand up for somebody or you speak up in a way that you didn't expect.
Totally.
And that comes through in your songs.
Thank
like
you.
I feel like it creates, it makes you feel like you can do something more.
100%. And I think like she said that too. She was like, my spirit is never going to be like down. She's like, she's very fierce, you know? She was like, some guys are being weird and lewd at that shoot, and she was just shouting at them. And I was like, let's go. Like, you know, so even if, like, at least in a group, she feels safe to be like, F you, like, don't do this, you know? So to speak up for the other women in the group was really cool.
Yes.
And like, she was great. And so even though she has her daily struggles, so that kind of hit the nail on the head, you know? And yeah, that's great.
Well, keep making music that like inspires women, that celebrates women, that shows their becoming, you know, and our roots. And I'm just so happy that you were here and that I could have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. That was really, really sweet. And like, I feel like we really delved into it today. So it was very cool. I feel like I've not talked about a lot of these things. So it's awesome.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's what I try to do. I try to make you
just get all the scoops.
Get all up in there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yay,
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I hope you loved this episode of Desi Wisdom. Please leave a comment below telling me if you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you would have wanted more of. It really helps me refine this podcast to give you exactly what you want. I will be reading every comment and responding. Also, I know this is the last thing that you're going to want to be doing, but if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, you'll be notified of the episodes that come out every single Tuesday. So hit that subscribe button. And if you're ready to binge another episode of Desi Wisdom, take a look at this one. It's a good one.